Hi, fifth graders. Welcome to day 2 of our fourth week of virtual learning. Today we are going to talk about how an author uses figurative language and what the point of view in a story is. So first of all, your homework. You are going to do the Think Central quiz on Rachel's journal. You have an assignment on point of view. That is a form, so all you have to do is click the link. And then you have an assignment for figurative language. That is also a form, so all you have to do is click the link. All right, first thing we're going to talk about is how the author uses figurative language. So for the past couple of weeks, we have talked about what figurative language is. We've talked about similes, we've talked about metaphors, we've talked about personification. So what I'm asking you to do today is I want you to go back and look through the story Rachel's Journal again. You can either reread the whole thing or just kind of skim it because I know you've already read it. While you are reading or rereading, I want you to really pay attention and see if the author used any figurative language. Last week you had to create your own figurative language, so you should have a pretty good idea of what counts as figurative language. If not, you can go back and watch one of our past videos or just look for your homework that you did last week, and that should give you a clue. Once you find the author using figurative language, I want you to write down what he said. So if the author said, "Her cheeks were like roses," you would copy that sentence into the form, and then you would say what he meant by that. So if I'm reading along and I'm reading Rachel's journal and somewhere it says, "Her cheeks were like roses," I would go to my form and I'd type in figurative language number 1. Her cheeks were like roses. I think the author meant was she was blushing for some reason. And that would be my answer. Complete sentence. I told you what the figurative language was, like the sentence of it, and I told you what it meant in the story. Right, so there is figurative language. If you have any questions about that, please ask me or your homeroom teacher, and I can explain it a little better if you need it. Now we are going to talk about point of view. What is point of view? This might be a review for you, but I'm not sure, so I'm just going to teach it like you've never heard it before. Look at my little glasses. Point of view is how you, the reader, are seeing the story. When we're reading, are we actually seeing a story? In our heads we are, but we're looking at the words. Point of view is the way that we are seeing it. There are 3 different types of point of view. First person point of view is told by a character involved. This sounds like a story we just read. Is Rachel's journal a first person point of view? Yes, it is. This whole story was told by Rachel. She's a character involved. That is a first person point of view. First person point of view uses words such as I and me and my and us and we. It's a story told by the character. Now you can't really see this, but I'll post a picture of this. First person point of view stories are often, they have more details and they have stronger feelings because you're feeling what the character is feeling because it's their story. Second person point of view, the narrator speaks directly to you as a reader. So this is when the author would use words like you and you'll and you and your, as in you are. These types of stories often seem more bold because they're talking to you. So then you'll be reading along and the book will say, and then, can you believe it? That is an example of a second person point of view story. Third person point of view, there's actually 2 different types. Words that are in third person point of view stories are words like he and she and it and him and his and her and the characters' names. So it'd be like, Mrs. Smith went walking one day. She ran into Crystal at the grocery store. They started talking. That would be an example of a third person point of view. The first type of third person point of view is a limited view. This is where the narrator knows the thoughts and feelings of one person, one character in the story. So in my example of me going to the grocery store, if it was a limited point of view, it would say, Miss Smith was pretty nervous about going to the grocery store because she almost ran out of gas on the way home and she didn't know if she was going to make it home. But then she ran into Crystal and Crystal was talking to her and made her feel better. That would be a limited point of view. We don't know how Crystal's day is going. We only know how Mrs. Smith's day is going. An omniscient point of view is when the narrator knows the thoughts and feelings of all the characters. So in my example of me going to the grocery store, I'm having my worried day because I didn't know if I was going to have enough gas to get home. And then I could say Miss Smith ran into Crystal. Crystal was having a great day. She had just eaten a whole chocolate cake that her grandpa had made her. So that would be omniscient because the narrator knows both how I'm feeling and how Crystal is feeling. So, yep, that is point of view. If you have any questions, please let me know. In the form for point of view, it's going to ask you to define first person, second person, third person. I'm pretty sure it's a multiple choice. So read those carefully because I'm sure one is meant to trick you. It's going to ask you to fill in a blank about a point of view question, and then it's going to ask you to write something in first person point of view. I'm pretty sure I asked you to write about all of the craziness that's happening right now. So you could do it just like we read in Rachel's journal. You could say, let's see, April 23rd. Today I woke up and I had a smoothie for breakfast, which was crazy because who has smoothies on a Thursday morning? Smoothies are only for Mondays. And then it was kind of a rainy day, which makes me feel a little sad. So that's my first person account of how today is going. You can do something like that, or you could talk about your schoolwork, you could talk about missing your friends, you could talk about the exciting things you get to do. Doesn't really matter what you talk about so long as it's in first person point of view and you're using complete sentences with capital letters and punctuation at the end. If you have any questions about point of view or figurative language in a text, please ask me or your homeroom teacher, and we would be more than happy to help you understand. I hope you have a great day, fifth graders. Bye.